Hello and welcome to another Nest With Me vlog. I am still 38 weeks pregnant and I still have like the clothes to sort out, so I'm going to do that. I just need to empty all these baby clothes into the drawers. Oh my god, the amount of baby shoes I've got is actually obscene. This is my favourite though. I got this before I was even pregnant, when we were trying for Bear. Little pumpkin slippers, and then when he was born they didn't fit him. A lot of these didn't fit him because he was like almost 3 weeks overdue, and these are like tiny. Look at these little River Island ones, so cute, but they didn't fit. So oh, these are cute as well, these little tigers. There is a storm currently coming in. You see my like lampshades are swinging. I'm going to put some of the clothes in these drawers. So these two are Bear's, so I'm going to get the stuff out of this drawer. Oh my god, this is so gorgeous. But he's not going to wear this in the summer, so I might just hang up some of his clothes, like his winter clothes. This is all sleep suits and muslins, and then in here I have shoes, socks and hats. I am now 39 weeks pregnant. I obviously didn't go into early labour like I thought I was with that incoming storm. I don't know what got over me. Like I had these really weird, obviously they were like Braxton Hicks, but I thought it was labour, and then this storm came after the heat wave and I was like, oh my god, the storm's gonna bring the baby. I don't know why I was like so sure about it, but no baby still. I'm going for a scan today, so I'm going for a 39-week ultrasound to see how big the baby is. I am back from my appointment and it did not go as I thought it would. So everything is fine with the baby. Everything to do with the baby is absolutely fine, but it was just the weirdest appointment. This hospital, I've spoken about it before, it's just so weird. So this hospital is 40 minutes away from where I live. The nearest hospital after that is like an hour and a half to 2 hours away from where I live, so I can't really be going that far when I'm in labour, so I'm having to give birth in this hospital by default. But it's just a really weird hospital. When you walk up to it, there's market stalls selling, and it's on hospital grounds where it would have been like have planters and nice benches, but it's been taken over by people selling fake designer goods. So when you're trying to get into the hospital, there's these stalls and they're selling like fake designer handbags and jewellery, and so you're walking past all that. You then go up to the like doors of the reception and it would have had glass over it, but obviously it's been smashed years ago, so it's just this crusty metal. You're walking onto like this crusty decaying metal. You go in. And then I went up to, first I'll say what happened at the ultrasound. So I was running 5 minutes late, but at this hospital they are always running late for the ultrasounds. I've waited for an hour and a half for my appointment before and they've been an hour and a half late. So I knew they're always running late. So I was 5 minutes late. So I went up to the reception to like obviously check in and I said, oh, I'm late for my appointment. My appointment was at 4, it's 4:05. And then she said, what's your name? I gave her my name and she said, you're late. Like that, like really belligerent, really rude in my face. And I went, I know. And she really wanted me to pander to her. You know, people when they get a tiny bit of power and they want you to plead. So for some reason, she just really wanted me to be like, I'm so sorry I'm late. It was the traffic. Like, we didn't put into account that it's 4 o'clock, so people's children are leaving school. I'm so sorry. Like, she really wanted me to like plead for this appointment. I then look behind her where the clock is and I see that they're running late by 25 minutes. They have a whiteboard where they always put how late they're running, 25 minutes. So I knew I hadn't missed my appointment. And then she said, oh, I'll have to see if they can fit you in. So I said, okay. So she went and spoke to them. They obviously said, we're running very late. Like, yeah, her appointment hasn't even come up yet. My name hadn't called, nothing like that. So then she said, okay, go and wait in reception, go and wait in the waiting room. She was so rude. I went for my ultrasound. They were really rushed in the ultrasound. It wasn't a very pleasant experience because they were running so late. So we were like waiting for like over 25 minutes. They were just running very late, which they always are at this hospital for all the appointments that I've ever had with them. So I then went in for my ultrasound. She just very quickly, like she was a pleasant woman, but it was very quick because they were running so late. So it was just very rushed, and this is my last ultrasound before the baby's born, so it was kind of unpleasant that it was so rushed. Baby is absolutely fine weight, so the reason I had a scan at 39 weeks is they were worried that the baby was going to be too big for me to have a natural birth, and now they've said the baby is absolutely fine weight-wise to have a natural birth, there's no issues. So then after this appointment I had to go straight for a consultant appointment where the consultant tells you the results of the ultrasound, which is kind of pointless because the sonographer tells you the results straight away. So she said baby's fine weight, you can have a natural birth. So then you have to go to another appointment straight after where they tell you the same information. So I walked in, it was this man and he said like baby's fine, you can have natural birth, we're going to book you in for an induction. And I said I don't want to be induced. I was induced with my first son. It was a week-long thing of inductions. He was born like 3 weeks. I was 3 weeks overdue when he was born. And it was a week-long of failed inductions that ended in a cesarean, and then they gave me too many drugs. So after the cesarean I kind of blacked out and they broke my waters too early. So it was all like medical hospital failings and stuff. Because I'd been in there so long, I didn't have one midwife dealing with me. It was different midwives and stuff. So stuff went wrong. So I know this is a different hospital I'm giving birth in because I've moved house, but I was like, I don't want an induction again because I don't want to end up having another cesarean. I really want to have a natural birth and go into natural labour. So he was like, what is hospital policy? When you get to 41 weeks, you need to be induced. So the whole thing was just kind of ridiculous. It was this weird dance. He knows I'm not going to the appointment, that I'm going to cancel it, but he's saying it's policy of the hospital, so you have to book it and you have to be induced at 41 weeks for this hospital, which actually you don't. You can give birth in the sea if you want. I can give birth with my cat Lola as my midwife if I want. You have a right to give birth however you want. It's actually under, I think it's like a UN law in England that you are allowed to give birth however you want. But the hospital don't have to take any kind of like responsibility for it. So if you want to have a home birth and the hospital say we don't think you should have a home birth, they don't have to give you a midwife. If you want to give birth on the beach, they might say I'm not meeting you on the sand, you're going to have to do that by yourself, which I think is perfectly reasonable. And so you'd have to hire a private midwife to do those kind of things if you want. And I already had said about like home birth before, my midwife was like, we don't do that at like this NHS trust, like we don't do that. So you couldn't have that, you couldn't have like a water birth or a birthing centre. So many options were already taken away. And then now he's like, you've got to be induced at 41 weeks, which is so bizarre because at this hospital you have to be induced at 41 weeks, whereas at the hospital I gave birth to my son at, you have to be induced at 42 weeks. What one is it? Because they're both NHS hospitals. So why do they have different policies depending on the different hospitals? I just find that really ridiculous, the whole thing. So that was basically my appointment, 39 weeks, to see if the baby was too big. No, all the scans prior must have been wrong because the baby hasn't like shrunk in size or stopped growing. Just the baby, like, I think it was 3 weeks ago, they were saying the baby may be too big for you to give birth to naturally, and now they're saying the baby's absolutely like average size, the baby's fine now. So I don't know what happened with that. They like wouldn't explain that. Really rushed ultrasound. Like, woman on reception wanted to berate me, and then the consultant was really like, you're going to book it in now. This is what you're doing. You're booking in an induction because you have to. I don't want to go for the balloon because that's the only thing they can offer me, because I had a previous cesarean. That's the hospital policy, and the balloon is so time sensitive. They have to get you down to the labour ward at the right time, so you have to just pray that there's a bed on the labour ward for you by the time that the balloon is done. And like, it's a busy hospital. The likelihood is no. The likelihood that as soon as like the head is low enough that the balloon's done, that they're going to be able to get that out and get you on the labour ward, I feel that's highly unlikely, because it's a busy maternity hospital. Like, they're not going to be able to. So, and they couldn't last time, so why would they be able to do it this time at a much busier hospital? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So it would end in another cesarean, I feel. If I got induced 100%, it would end in another cesarean, and I definitely don't want another cesarean. So we're just gonna let the baby do what he's doing, chill. I've still got my midwife appointments, so the midwife will check like the heartbeat, your blood pressure, urine, and all that different stuff to make sure the baby's still healthy and okay. So that's just what we're doing. I'm not at my due date now. I'm 39 weeks, so I've got a week to my due date. I'll end this here, and I will see you again soon for another video.